the 13 is the amount of votes they need to get. That's the amount of people that they need to get. Yeah.
That's where I'm getting that.
Yeah. So there's 13 that is out there. I'll show you the FTSE. The FTSE's just a bit of a crossroads. It kind of, it looks like under this daily pivot, so it looks like it could just drift down a little bit lower. But it's going to be one of those that will have to be taken on, I think, to the upside if it breaks through this pivot. If it breaks and holds through the pivot, then I'll have to take a lot on a long and see what happens there, because it's just a bit too far away. But I want it really. The weekly pivot would be great. The big thing is, let me take these levels off because I find them a bit off-putting. The big thing is all about, at the minute, what happens with this bar. This is the weekly, and this is what I want to see. This is the one I want to see how the market reacts, because we haven't got Fed till next week. It seems like that.
Retail sales tomorrow, but yeah, Fed next week.
Yeah, I think that could be quite key as well. You know, I think because there is this assumption of a rate cut, everybody's going to be watching every single data point so keenly. This is what we've got today. But this is the interesting number. I suppose the only thing with it, yeah, so it's a core CPI did miss. That gives them some room. Maybe the only thing with it is it's month over month rather than year over year, and that is likely to fly around a little bit. So maybe it's just not as significant.
I don't think so. No.
Not so much out today.
Although, you know, that said, if you look at the time of day, and I didn't.
Yeah.
There was big movements yesterday, late, well, kind of midway through US session by the look of it, especially on the pound and the Aussie. Don't know about the euro. So something went on yesterday during the US session.
Oh, really? Well, what time was that? Because this was before the US session opened.
Let me see. Well, the dollar appreciated against the three I've just mentioned at started around, or there was a big rejection bar at 1500 platform time, whatever that is.
Yeah, Aussie dollar's down, isn't it?
That's a good thing, mate. We're trading that.
Yeah, you in the Aussie dollar?
Aussie dollar and Aussie Kiwi short, yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Not sure what's going on. I mean, this is these are the protection currencies, if you like.
Are we live, mate?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Yeah.
On YouTube, I can't see anything but black screens. Yeah, we are live. Okay.
They're still just showing black, is it?
Yeah, and I've got two sessions.
Oh, yeah. One of them I started, and I started a bit early, so I stopped it, and I thought you could restart, but you can't. So I just had to close it down and just start a completely new one. Yeah. So we should be on the one that says June as a word.
I got it now. I was on the wrong one.
Okay, cool.
Seeing nothing. Okay.
Yeah. So, this is the dollar yen popped up. That might even be putting in a. That might be putting a little bit of a hunt for some upside.
Yeah, I don't think this retracement's over, mate. I really don't. I've got that level, but I'd have to get a wriggle on. I've got to tell you, if it's going to hit it, I've got that level around about 109.24-ish.
109.24. Let me see.
Maybe 25-ish, something like that. But it seems that we've missed that. That time has gone. Probably now we're talking 109, the figure.
109. Oh, all the way up here on the 4 hour. You're looking at, you on the dollar yen.
I'm on the daily actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, yeah. So that might well pop up. We got gold as well, continuing to at least hang on to its gains. So there's still some protection going on out there as well. Now at the same time, the FTSE's pushing forward, and you know, this may well be it, that people are happy to continue to keep stocks high as long as they've got their protection in place.
Yeah. All I'm seeing at the moment in currencies is what goes up comes down.
Yeah.
And news is the only driver that
Yeah.
I can see at the moment.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely right.
actually getting through any sort of resistance or support. And the Aussie is, you know, it's now reached support, but even it's backing off that after some bad news today.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe the market's the same, mate. Maybe it's just not willing to go outside of its little comfort zone at the moment. Certainly appears that way.
Well, it certainly does, doesn't it? And you know, you have to think as well. What if it does go out of that comfort zone? What does take it there? Because
well, as I say, it only seems to be news that's doing it at the moment.
Yeah, it
and
does.
even then, you know, there's no follow through anywhere that I can see.
Well, that's the thing from yesterday, and all I can think is that there's a delayed reaction that may happen, or it's possible that the market does pick it up today, because the number one factor is the delayed reaction, and the number two factor is that we do have further data tomorrow, and people want to position themselves ready for numbers that would suggest a further cut. So I will look at it in this area for some upside. I mean, I don't really think I've got too much of a choice in a lot of ways. I think I'm going to have to. I didn't really want it here. I wanted it much lower. The weekly pivot would have been a different story in many respects, because if it came all the way down there, my suspicion would have then been we aren't going up at all. So I think this is probably maybe actually the most sensible point. I don't, maybe this is it. You know, maybe we don't have a lower price to get in at, because it's going to change the way that the weekly chart looks. I wonder whether we've got possibly this falling wedge as well, which means that we could pick it up down there. So maybe between these two levels would be, there's a DS1 there. And it might even come
you
close
would have
to that.
thought if the bears were really serious here, they would have, after they've broken that pivot and come off the trend line, you would have thought they'd drive it down to at least test that low.
Absolutely right. And I wonder whether nobody's really that serious. You know, the bulls maybe just have the wind slightly taken out of their sails for some reason. I'm not sure what they're reading into, that what the FTSE 100 market makers are really reading into right now. I'm not even that sure why it came off as it did. I think it might have been a bit of a Trump tweet situation. He's a lot softer on China today. So yeah, which could play a part, you know, and it does seem to be, as you say, you know, news is really driving this right now, but it's also the tweets from Donald Trump. I mean, Twitter will probably never in its future or history be quite as important it is right now. Just the way that it's moving the market around, or the way that Trump managed to move the market.
He's got shares in them.
Well, I don't know, mate. Actually, thinking about it, maybe it was Draghi. Did you know what Draghi said yesterday?
No, what did you say, mate?
I haven't got a clue, but I don't think it was
No.
particularly positive. But maybe that's why we did. I mean, the market yesterday sold into the CPI news. It literally was the turning point was CPI. So when it came down here and CPI came out weaker than yeah, it was weaker than expected. Then the market started to pick up again. And it looked, by all intents and purposes, that it was, you know, it's going to continue its run, because that was the original trend line there. And as it came down, tested, it looked like it was going to push higher, but it didn't even make back to the daily pivot before it started to come off again. So kind of difficult to ascertain that the trend to the upside was around about to start again. So this is why we've got a different line in play now, which is here, and this line is a much better line because the angle's just a bit more natural than something being so steep. So if it breaks through there, then I think the bulls will probably step back in again. But yeah, it was literally you know, within the minute practically. I'll show you this on a 5-minute chart. And the data release was there. So that bar was the data release. Yeah. So you know, it managed to find its low, got the data release, and then it was gone. I got in on this retracement here, but I ended up taking it back off when it was before I went to bed. So in fact, it was before the futures closed. So I got in here. And the reason I got in was because of the break of that level there. And then when did it close? Closed here. Yeah, it started. This is the close here. So as this started to come down again, I was looking in this area and thinking, not really liking this too much. And actually, it was the right choice, because what I did before I closed it off was I'd move my stops because I didn't want to get kind of taken out on the Asian session. But I didn't end up using the stops in the end, because when this level gave way and it started to break down there, when it popped up again, I took it off around about there. So I didn't make a lot on it, around about 10 pips or something I made on it. But it was a purely protection trade, and really with a protection trade, you kind of want to leave them in the market, really. But it just didn't look decent, you know. It really should have started to go, and if price was far enough away from where I entered, I would have left things be, or at least if it was pointing up. I mean, the other thing with this is that I had this, which we can't see because of all these lines here, but let's get rid of them. This 4-hour bar forming, and that's another reason I just thought, well, I don't really want to kind of leave that on the market, because we now potentially made a lower low. We've come up, we've put in a reversal bar, and there's going to be bears that are interested here. They haven't managed to push it down significantly, but it certainly did look like it wasn't the right choice to stay in. And the other thing that formed my decision was looking around the other markets too. I mean, I kind of was looking at the S&P on the dailies and thinking, these bars look kind of weak. Interesting that they haven't really crashed down, but they you know, there's a
it's the same thing, isn't it? Why hasn't it gone? You know, yeah. On a signal like that, you think, oh, this is going.
Yeah, same with the Nasdaq.
Something else is going on then, I guess.
No, same with the Dow. You know, so all of them. Oh, same with the interestingly, same with the European stocks as well. That's the CAC 40. So all of them are kind of like in this at this higher price, that they are putting in these reversal bars, but then just not really crashing to the downside. Now, I think it is purely a timing issue, and you know, all this suggests to me is that the market just can't quite decide. Does it want to take the risk that the Fed is going to lower interest rates and, you know, stay in just so they can get a really nice explosive move? I mean, it's possible that they're just thinking, well, you know, if Donald Trump continues to start fights as he is doing, then does it matter what the Fed do? You know, because the other side of the coin is that the numbers reflect a market which is weakening, and with a weakening market, everybody's buying into stimulus rather than solid numbers. So it's a rally that's based on very, very loose and soft foundations, really.
I guess there doesn't appear to be any. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any fear though yet to go with all that.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Seems to be okay. We'll just take it as it comes attitude. And
Yes.
yeah, it's like blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
The only thing with that, the only counter, I suppose, maybe argument to that is gold. You know, maybe the lack of fear.
Today.
What's that, mate?
So I haven't had a look at that. What's it? Oh, okay, it's matched the high of.
Yeah, maybe the lack of panic is the fact that everybody's got their protection in place.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody, but I think there's a large majority of people that, while they were buying this, they were also. I mean, we'll compare it to the S&P. They were also buying this. You know, they were buying up both, which is pretty common actually. I've seen it. You know, after the financial crash in 2008. I'm not sure if this chart's going to go back that far. No, in fact, let's do it on a weekly.
Interestingly, though, gold has hit its highs and the S&P has not.
Yes. So this is March 2009, and you know this is kind of gold. Sorry, the S&P just going up and 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 up to right up to 2000. Well, in fact, it continues to go higher and higher and higher. And then when we compare that to gold, which doesn't give me enough. Doesn't give me enough information.
Gold's a lot more volatile. Look at that.
Yeah, it is actually. It's not really giving me the information I need. Inside bar on gold as well on the weekly, which could be quite interesting next week. But the other thing is, both gold and
it'd be tough to be a gold buyer right now, I think.
I think you do, yeah. Well,
unless you're in there.
Unless yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be sort of trading at these lofty prices personally, but yeah, I know what you're saying. I think the interesting thing about both gold and the FTSE is that they both tend to be pretty weak during June, and we are around about halfway through. Now, obviously, that's not a a trading strategy, but I do think that that the fact that we had such a poor May and so far such a solid June is a little bit concerning, and does suggest that it might not be the best time still to get in. I still think that there could be some movements in the opposite direction. But if the FTSE goes down, gold's very little. Well, say the FTSE, if the overall stock markets across the globe go down, gold is very, very likely to go up. So there will be a winner. Or a break of trend in the seasonals, if you like, out of gold and the FTSE this month. One of them will be down, and one of them will be up, or they could both possibly be up, but they both won't be down. That's the big key.
Mate, I think we're looking. You and I would be looking, and I'm not sure how long I want to stay in this Aussie short for. We'll be looking for that, and we're nearly halfway through the month. And remember, that's the strongest currency traditionally for the month of June.
Yeah,
I'll be looking, and this pleases me because the further we go down, the better price we're going to get on that.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let's have a look at your chart on that.
Okay. Yep.
If you don't crash.
Well, everything was okay yesterday.
It was. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, we're looking all right, I think. Ready, set, go. You see my chart yet?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go to the bigger picture and see where we're situated. So we've broken this level down, and can't remember what did that. It's only that was the interest rate cut, was it? What am I on? Weekly chart? No. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. That was the supposed interest rate cut because we traded it. And I can't remember what that big four was. Anyway, interest rates was cut, as we know. And today we had the unemployment figures out, right? So I put out to my broadcast group that if 5.1 or better, and better meaning less than 5.1, then we would be looking to trade pound Aussie and Aussie CAD. But that wasn't the case. We're already in the Aussie short from the day before. We traded this bar here, this little tiddler, and we were already in that trade. So at the time of release, I made myself safe in the market. Didn't want to trade through the news on such a small candle, to be fair. So that's all worked out pretty well. But I don't know that I want to trade through this low. I think when we do hit this low, if we hit this low, I'll start to look for buys. And I think that's, going along with the figures that you've produced. It's also this level here. Let me go a little bit wider and you can see that more succinctly and put it into context. So that's the level I'm talking about right here. We haven't been beyond there since, hang on, let me get rid of that.
Fuzzy's just opened up, mate.
Need to do anything?
No, it's just above the daily pivot, so nothing confirmed at this stage.
Okay, so we have not been beyond that level on the Aussie since 2009. So more than 10 years since we've been below there. That tends to suggest to me that this is a bounce point. And as I say, I'll have most of this trade off at that time. There's no question. And it's there that I'll start looking for buys. And if June is to be the month for the Aussie, then wow, this could be good, mate. This could be real
what would take the Aussie up?
Got it on the way down and on the way. Well, I've said that all along since there was first. When we're going back 6 weeks or more, when I first said that I cannot for the life of me see why the Aussie would rally in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But if we get down to here, we're probably likely to get down to here by, let's say, next Wednesday, Thursday. Let me take a look at that and see if that works. So if we're down here by next Wednesday, Thursday, which just coincidentally happens to be the FOMC statement,
Okay.
that could very well make a difference.
Mm.
So that may be so let's say the Fed does go and cuts interest rates. Now, I wouldn't expect to see too much if they go half or 25 basis points. But what if they went 50? Then you're going to see fireworks because the market wasn't expecting that. What you're seeing now and what you've seen for, and I think this is worthy of attention. If you go back 3 weeks before interest rate announcements, I think you're going to find that the market is turning at around about that point. And in this case, we got the Aussie 1, 2, 3 weeks ago started to rally. Now that's on the back of, in my opinion, the potential for the interest rate cut in the dollar. So the Fed cutting interest rates. Now, because the Aussies had such shit news for the last 3 weeks, last 2 weeks now, we're seeing it fall off. So if in the Aussies case in particular, if the Fed does cut interest rates and we're down here somewhere at this very strong support level, the Aussies got absolutely no choice but to rally. None at all.
Mm.
So, and if they were to go double instead of single, then we're going to see the Aussie back up here somewhere. So, that would all work for me, given the figures that you gave me at the beginning of the month. So, am I going to trade past here? Well, I'll probably leave something on just in case, but it will be very, very little. I'm not going to give up those gains at all. No way. In fact, I'll trail this very tightly as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Aussie, mate. I think there's a definite few more pips in this, but as soon as we hit a major support level, such as 68.5 ish, then I'm out of here. I don't want to know about it. I want to look for longs, and if you can see what that could produce, I wish I had a pen. That could produce a beautiful W pattern right up to here. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's an absolute potential coming
Right.
up. But I did like the trade that we took. I thought it was a classic. Everyone was calling the Aussie long, and it's tough to be, sticking to your guns when that's the case.
Yeah.
But when you do, you get rewarded for that, because you back your analysis is what I'm saying.
Yeah. What? Well, I suppose with the Aussie, that there's, given how low that level is down there, this may well be a decent potential trade if the Fed do lower interest rates. Does that suggest that there's going to be plenty of time with the Aussie?
I think because we've already seen the market price this in,
yeah,
we may not get down to this level even. And if we don't, technically, maybe we need to look at this level, which is fast approaching. And that's my second take profit level, mind you. So actually, no, it's not. My second take profit level is here. I might need to reassess that, because I'm now seeing a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is telling me that this rally here is indeed the market pricing in a Fed cut. What we're seeing now is a reaction to shit Aussie news.
Yeah,
that's what we're seeing.
Yeah,
but that will pale to insignificance if the Fed does cut interest rates. So really, they're doing us a favor here. This bad news is doing us a big favor here, because if my analysis is correct, then here is where we should be if the Fed cuts interest rates, because the market's already priced that to there.
Yeah.
In my opinion, which is 70 cents. It's no big secret. So if they do cut, then that's where, logically, and I know logic and trading doesn't always coincide, but logically, that's where we have to be, because the market's already said that's where we have to be.
Mm.
So, to my mind, this is a no-brainer. If the Fed does cut, we're there. And if they cut by more than 25, we're here and here and here, and I can't wait, mate. Seriously, I can't wait for this to hit support, because I'll be looking for longs from that point on.
Yeah, and you'll still, you can let the charts tell you that anyway, aren't you? It's not like you're just going to go in because it's down there.
I'll wait for a signal. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I won't just go on a. Well, it's more than a whim. I think I've analysed that fairly succinctly, and I'm
and that's the key, isn't it? Because really, I always think that the biggest challenge and actually the greatest rewards you're going to get from trading are going to be down to if you can calculate market sentiment, because then everything else really pales into insignificance, and this is why I always
market structure as well.
And market structure, yes, well, the market structure is going to tell you the where, isn't it?
Yes.
But if you can,
will tell you the when,
and the why, and the when.
When
yes, the when and the why. Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing. I think if you can get decent at calling the market sentiment, and as you say, you've got to do your analysis and you've got to try and stick to it as much as you possibly can. And it does get very confusing, I think. Because
last month it was as confusing as all shit.
Yeah.
This month I'm having no problem at all. To me, it's crystal clear.
Yeah. It's funny that, isn't it? It's funny how and maybe that there's some things that are just hidden and there's other things that aren't. Also, oil. has had a decent run as well, which we'll talk about later on, and why. And again, another
Yeah, somebody must have traded that in the group, because one of my students messaged me that they didn't take the Aussie call for whatever reason that I put out, and they did take the oil call. And I said, well, I'd love to be responsible for that, but I didn't call it. So somebody traded oil.
Oh well, it is down because there was an oil tanker exploding in the Middle East, I think.
Okay, it's fought back today so far.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that's why it's down. That's why it's up, because obviously that would create a lack of supply to a degree.
Yes, indeed.
So what else we got, buddy?
So that's well, Aussie Kiwi is the other one, mate. We decided, as I said, was it Monday? I think it was Monday. Was I in Monday? I don't know. Whenever I said it, that I decided not to move my stops to this obvious place. I was going to move them to here after this swing, around about there. I was going to move my stops to there after the swing, and I thought, no, I don't think that's a great idea. I'm going to leave them up here, which I did, which was at entry, until this panned out. And of course, we had the Aussie news today, which took this almost back to where the best price was. And it's at that point after the news that I said, well, I'm going to lock in some profit here, and I did, and I moved it down to this level. So I might even trail this a bit tighter now, given what we've just said and what we've just been through. So I've worked out my levels there and moved my stop just above them. So this one we've been in since here. That's going pretty well. That's now at probably 4 plus times risk. Yeah, not quite. About 3.5 times risk. So I'm now rethinking this. I've got a double bottom. I've got a clear double bottom. Let me have a look at the daily chart. But this is still the ruler. This one here, it's, this double top. As soon as I saw that, I said, well, I've got to try and trade that. And then we got the lower high. That's why I traded it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the stop belongs back up here somewhere. Maybe it does above the swing. But, given what we've just decided on the Aussie, and I know that's not Aussie Kiwi, it's Aussie dollar, but I'm going to have to think about this one. This is not as clear cut. Not at all. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm undecided about what I'm going to do with this. I know it's driven by news, and I think that line that I've just put on my chart probably is going to be the indicator for me. You can see now that it's been tested. If this looks like being a back test, as you call it, or retest, as I call it, then this could go again, because we do have this base here. But I'm not seeing that. This candle's fairly strong. Yes, it's come off the line, but this next one's probably going to tell me a little bit more that I need to know. In particular, if it were to close underneath here, then I'll just leave it open, no problem. But if it were to show me, okay, in particular, if it closed above the weekly pivot, I'd start to think this has got long potential. So that's kind of where I'm at on Aussie Kiwi. Pounds, yeah, look, I guess no surprise, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that during the month of June, currencies tend to range. Certainly, we're seeing that on the pound. Every time we try to rally, we get knocked over. But conversely, every time it tries to go below this level, it rallies. So this doesn't look like a rally at the moment, but we're not there yet. So I think probably without news driving this, we are still going to consolidate until a news event that suggests that we're going somewhere else. On the technical scale, we're still exactly in the same position as we were. I'm still a bull until proven wrong, and that wrong point will be pretty much where my stop loss is. on the weekly trade, which, as I say, is still intact. I don't have any reason to change it, and at some stage, hopefully, that will go where it needs to go. The couple I was looking at this morning, which is interesting. Pound Aussie was one, of course, and we couldn't trade this because of the news. But I said I'd have a good look at it after the news. And what I was looking at, something I don't often, well, in fact, something I don't trade, but it looked very compelling when I had a squeeze out this morning. The channel's fairly pronounced and now broken to the high side. At the time, before the news, we could see that this looked, for all intents and purposes, like a very, very nice false break. We even got the retest, but I refused to trade that with the news pending on such a small candle. And as I said, I will reassess this when the time comes. I think I'm okay to leave it. Again, given the Aussie analysis that I've got at the moment, I think the Aussie is due to rally, but not yet. So there's maybe a monthly pivot sitting here that I can see quite clearly, and maybe that's the point to be looking for a pound Aussie short. So not yet. I'll let the potential false break go and wait until we get to the monthly pivot. Then I'll start looking for something on the short side. The other one, again, everything was all around the Aussie this morning. I was looking to trade Aussie CAD long. That hasn't gone away because, as you can see, we're still at a significant level here, around about the 92 mark. I'll be watching to see what happens here quite closely. And it's the same theme all the way through. I can see what needs to happen, but I can't see a trade here to be had at the moment. So this will probably look, if it pans out, this one will probably look like, let me see, a line through there maybe, and we'll, if we do come off this base and the double bottom, then we can come back to here. We've got a confluence area daily pivot. That'll probably won't be the daily pivot tomorrow, but it may be. It may be very, very close to that. So this level, this vicinity is probably where I'm interested. If we get back to here, maybe even break it, take out these highs and come back and retest, that's probably a long signal. A higher low in here should be produced in that process. And if that's the case, we would then have a double bottom, significantly double bottom, and a higher low. So why wouldn't we look to trade that long? I don't know, and that's still on my watch list, most definitely. So I think it's very Aussie centric at the moment, mate. By the look of it,
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Yeah.
Euro we can talk about a bit later. How are you looking there?
I am taking a trade to the upside on the FTSE here.
I thought you were getting ready, so I thought I'd better stop.
And I'll show you why. I've just put it in. The reason is because we have broken through this this level. Now this is an hourly chart, so it might be to everybody else's taste just to wait until the hourly's kind of broken through and then comes and retests, which is fine, absolutely fine. But I've entered it on the 15. We kind of let me just tighten this line back up a bit. We've closed above and actually just came flying back a little bit to the daily pivot, and now it's starting to pick up a little bit. But it's just a bit concerning, I think, not going long just because of the CPI data not having the reaction that I thought it would yesterday. And maybe people were just waiting. I don't know, but I think it's too risky not to go long here in many respects. So that's what I've done, mate. I've just triggered it in, and we'll see how we get on. If it breaks through this level with any kind of significance, then I suspect we're probably going right back to the highs again, which is another reason that we just can't take that risk, because when we look along these longer term time frames, you can see that that would be the high of this. In fact, this is a bit something to ask you about.
Yep.
Let's get this on a clean chart. This bar here, can you see that, or shall I blow it up a bit?
Yeah, no, I can see it.
bar here is a selling bar, and I think this is probably the trigger of a selling bar. Now, because of that, would that suggest to you that a trade above that particular level would be actually quite a good point?
Yes, it would. But to me, that's actually not a selling bar.
Okay.
The way I read the chart, that's not a selling bar.
Okay.
And the reason it's not
Yeah.
is because it's an inside bar, which means that the market hasn't actually moved away from that point.
Mm-hmm.
And why would it right now? There's no reason. And subsequently, you've got another inside bar. So that suggests to me again that the market is in a state of, well, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
So if I was to see that as a reversal bar, if you like, it would happen probably as another 4 or 5 candles time.
Okay.
Because that's just noise there to me. That doesn't mean anything.
So even though,
but certainly it's a high. So
yeah,
anything through there is bullish.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so even though you see, would you count this as the level of support, or maybe even a little bit lower? The level of support here got broken down. Does that not? I get what you mean about the inside bar. Does it have any more power? The fact that it is off that level there, and suggesting that that people could take it as a trigger.
Only as a long signal, not as a short.
Right. Yeah, long to go up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it as a short signal. I see it as a long signal.
Yeah. So would you potentially put stops? A buy stop above that bar with the stop at below?
What chart are you on?
This is the 4-hour.
Yeah, I'd probably drill down a little bit and see if there's a better entry for me. But
Okay.
Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from, and I don't disagree at all.
Okay.
The good thing about that is, if you drill down into a smaller time frame, you're going to see that bull bar is a key reversal bar, and you've got a hold on that with the second candle, and the hold on that with the second candle really means, the little bar, the little high test bar. What that really means to me is the market is winding up there, and it's ready to release, and the release will be to the high side, not the low side.
Yeah.
That's how I read those candles.
Right. Well, that's kind of good, though, isn't it? I mean, I think I quite like that. But anyway, that really just brings in the reason that I think that this is quite a significant level. Maybe I'm not right on the way that the slingshot would read it, but I think there's going to be a few stops up here. I think there's going to be a few people that have entered at the low of the bar, and I think there's going to be a few stops up here. Let's just break it down a little bit. Sorry to cut in, mate. Well, I know you're doing your analysis as well.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm having a look at the smaller time frames at the moment.
And again, this is our head and shoulders pattern, and it hasn't quite taken off. But I think this still could provide some liquidity here to the upside. I'm going to be very careful if we get back up to, and this is what I'm really looking for here, is for us to get back up here. Now at that point, at this point here, I will make a judgment call whether I take profit or wait for the next signal. I suppose because it's a hedge. I mean, let's hope it goes there for starters. But if we do get a move back to the upside today, then because it's a hedge, as much as it pains me, to not take the profit when it kind of goes up to that point, and then see it turn around and recognize that it could have all been profit in the bank. I will just protect it. So I'll just move my stops to break even, and just leave it just in case it goes a little further, because it always could. It could always go to this level, and maybe even beyond. And then what will happen then is that if the Fed do decide to hold off raising, dropping the interest rates, then everything will be protected. But if they decide to raise it, then we'll be in a long, and then the other trades will just have to be managed later on down the line.
Yep, hope it works out for you, mate. Definitely. I've drilled down into that, and as yet I don't see a slingshot trade. But if the current candle, I'm on an hourly chart now, if the current candle were to be even a high test bar, then that becomes tradable for me.
Right.
But indeed, if it's a bullish decisive bar, then we get a retest of a little trade line that you've probably got. Yeah, if you come off the top, no, not the top, but the second high.
This one here.
To the right hand side. Yeah, if you come off there and go through, yep, go through there.
Yeah.
That's what I like the look of.
Yeah.
But if it closed underneath there, I wouldn't like the look of it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see what the bears think of it up here. I suppose that they're certainly fighting their corner right now. But I suspect there's going to be quite a few sat, as I say, up there. So I'd quite like to hold it for as long as possible and just let it develop.
Go gadget, mate. Go gadget.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't collapse down here. If I can just get a little bit of upside, clear this level out here, then I'm going to feel fairly comfortable that I can manage this trade without too many issues. Okay, mate. Sorry about that. I just had to get that on. So we are in the market anyway.
Happy days. There's not too much more I want to look at. One thing I was keen on this morning was Aussie CAD, and I really didn't go full enough into that explanation. Let me do that because I think it's pretty cool. Okay, I'm on the weekly chart, but you could go to the monthly chart if you wanted to, and there you see why I'm so keen to get long this cross. This is a major level, and so is this one right here. And they've come together at a whole number 92, as it were. We're trying our little socks off to get through this level at the moment on Chartermon monthly. But any fail here is a buy signal without question. You can see how many times we've tried to break this level unsuccessfully. And even as recently as last month, we've tried to break it unsuccessfully. If it goes, wow, look out. If it doesn't, then, there's a trade here for sure. There's lots of pips to be gained out of getting a bounce off here. And that's what I'd be expecting. I'd be expecting a bounce off here. So again, it goes back to Aussie strength. And the oil price today rallying is helping, I suppose, the CAD as well. And Aussie bad news, it will be significant if we can't close below, in particular, the weekly chart, but certainly the monthly chart. So if we can't close below this weekly chart tomorrow, then I don't think I'd even wait here. I think this is a buy. No matter, I'd have to see something, but anything that comes off here and gives me a higher low, even on I won't say minute chart, but maybe an hourly, 4-hourly chart, something like that. If I saw that after rejection of this level for the umpteenth time, then I would have to be a bull. And I know this cyclicity, as they call it, doesn't look that way, but hang the cyclicity. I've got no interest in cyclicity when I see something like this. This is pronounced and absolutely crying out for a bounce here. So that's why I was so keen on Aussie CAD this morning. And I think the news has probably done me a favour rather than the reverse, because it's really giving me the impression that if the news is strong enough to drive this short, then my analysis is probably not as great as it should be. But if the news isn't strong enough to drive this short, then I'm absolutely on top of it here. And first target is 300 pips away up here, with another big W bottom forming. So Aussie CAD, mate, I'm really keen on that. Would have to wait till at least tomorrow and probably next Monday, but I'll be on top of it next Monday if we get the opportunity. That's for sure.
Aussie CAD long.
Yep, Aussie CAD long.
Okay.
Very keen, very keen. Timing is everything, of course, and I'm not interested in trading it right now. But after tomorrow, yeah, I think Monday, I come back on Monday, I think I should have an opportunity on that, at least to know whether I'm right or wrong. And if I'm right, I don't need to catch the first move, and that's the whole thing. The money's not in the first move for me, never has been. I don't know if it never will be. I won't say that statement, but it's always in the second one. That's where we make our money, not in the first move. So I'll be looking for that next week, next Monday, top of the list. Absolutely. Okay, we've got a bottom of an hour. Let's take a look at the 30-minute charts to see if there's anything that needs to be done. And when we have a look at pound US dollar, we just keep saying, oh, well, another day, another tank. Coming off the bottom here just at the moment, but you wouldn't want to be really long on a small time frame here. You'd be fairly panicky, I would have thought so. Look, I'm not giving up on it on the long for any particular circumstance that comes our way. We could easily go to where I believe it can go to, but at the moment, of course, we are out of the do-re-mi. Nothing to do. I can't trade this currently. Now, this one's interesting. Aussie Kiwi. What am I seeing right now? Seeing the hammer hasn't really reached the level that you would probably like to see it, or has it? Let's put that line in. It's probably there for me. The next level down. We've already been beyond this one. Or maybe the hammer's bang on that one. And we haven't taken out the low of the hammer. Yeah. It's not clear, is it? Well, for me, it's not clear. But there's definitely another level here for mine. Maybe I'm being a little bit ambitious. Yeah, it's interesting. And the interesting part is this. We've retested the backside of this trend line, which has been broken, right? And I'm on the wrong chart for that. This is a 30-minute chart. Let me go to the 4-hour chart. But right now, all we're seeing is not a major bounce off it. And if we were to see that, you'd probably be thinking weekly pivot retest. Well, I would probably be thinking weekly pivot retest. We're also at a support level, which is a whole figure, 105. So again, you're probably entitled to think we're going to bounce here, and this is adding up. The more I look at it, it's adding up in that direction. I've got to say, that level I'm looking for is probably there, which is not far away. Yeah, I think I'm going to start tightening up my stops here because this level is so significant. Let me just go a little bit wider. Yeah, that's how significant this level is. See, it's not going to be easy to crack. And again, given we've only been able to get through there a few times, given that we think the Aussie is going to rally before the end of the month, do I still see that? It's a tight one. My gut saying one thing and my head saying another. Maybe there is a little bit more left in this. Maybe there is, but I've got to see this break, and that's the key. The key level is where we are right now. So around about the 105 mark. If the 105 holds as support, then I think we're off to here. We're off back up to 106 pluses. So I'm not going to hang around here too much, and I will start to tighten my spreads, my stops. based on the next swing, if I get another swing. But certainly at the moment, it looks like we may have a double bottom and a potential higher low. It's not there yet. And as I said, there's no reason to think this candle is anything but a bear bar. And it is. So I haven't seen anything to suggest that there's a bullish move here yet. What I am seeing is the structure of the market telling me that we're getting a retest of this trade line. And we're not quite at the significant level, but we're not far away from it. So, yeah, gee, I could sit here analysing that all day, mate, but really I'm not seeing a trade, and that's what I'm trying to do. I was trying to look at the 30-minute charts, wasn't I? Here, I better do that. Righto, no trade lines, but I do see a double bottom and a higher low forming. That's interesting. This cross is Aussie US dollar. Against, of course, the news and momentum, which is neither here nor there at the end of the day. It's a structure. And if this were to go here, it wouldn't be a surprise. I don't know how far it can go at this point. I'm still waiting to get a signal that the Aussie can reverse. And I don't see that yet. And I've got no technical reason. I've got no fundamental reason to think that the Aussie can reverse. So until that occurs, and this is only a 30-minute time frame, don't forget, on the daily chart, this doesn't look anything like a reversal at the moment. Yes, we're approaching a strong level in 69 cents, but we're still looking pretty bearish as far as I can see. So no change there and nothing yet to do. Aussie CAD, same. You know, this is a cross under pressure at the moment, and I don't see any reason why it can't fall further. It's testing the lows, no question about that either. So potentially a bounce here, but maybe only to there, and then we go again. I don't see a trade right now. Euro US dollar. This is a little more interesting. And if we look at the 4-hour chart, you can see that there's you can see it on any chart really, the 30-minute definitely, but you can see that we've got a classic double top sitting here. Now, I said this to the guys this morning on the daily chart. If this were to produce a bullish decisive bar today, in particular if it were to close above the daily pivot, and maybe even at this level here, round about there somewhere, I would not be able to contain myself tomorrow morning. I would have to put a low underneath this cross. Now, the issue that there would be with that is, of course, that we're trading straight into an untested weekly pivot. I would try and pick it up on a 4-hour chart, and the market has to play ball with me here. I'd have to pick it up here somewhere, I think, you know, back to this 113.08 level, where we would put in a lower high or even above there, and that would be the time I'd choose to go low, taking profit before the weekly pivot. So whilst it looks super cool on a daily chart, you're trading straight into support without profit. On a 4-hourly chart, it may look a whole lot better come opening time tomorrow. In when I say opening time, Asia opening time or Australia opening time. So dead keen to trade it, but yeah, you got to be careful here. Don't trade into that without something in the bank, or you could very well regret it. I'm supposed to be looking at 30-minute charts, aren't I? Why can't I help myself? Just can't. All that in situ, we're starting to see, or are we? There's a little bit of a cycle going on here. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high at the daily pivot. If you're a trend trader, you'd probably be wanting to jump onto that and get yourself short. I'm not sure if I can do that. It's not the worst. In fact, it's not the worst at all. Small bar. No profit. Yeah, no, I'm going to wait for what I've analysed. But you can see that there's definitely a flag there. If I could convince myself,
there is, isn't there?
Yeah, if I could convince myself that this is
Euro
trending short,
Euro
yeah,
dollar.
I'd
Well, that's
I could.
gonna be surely down to the interest rate cut, isn't it?
Oh yeah, wow, 30-minute chart. Gee, it's tough.
It's not the move, is it?
The problem is trading into the support. Everything else is okay. So here's the low of the day, but we've got a new low of the day, and that gives me license to trade into that. But it doesn't give me license to trade beyond it without profit in the bank. And to put profit in the bank, it's a tough call. If I had the balls to trade below that bar, maybe, then there's a trade on. But it's not my MO. I can see it, but not my MO. No, I'm going to wait. I'll wait till tomorrow, as I said. That probably changes if we get that area that I'm talking about for a lower high. Maybe this is the lower high. It's a bit tough, mate. A bit tough. I'm really tempted here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What structurally am I doing wrong if I take that trade? Wonder what that was about. There's no news at that time, was there? Let me have a look. Yeah, yen. No. When in doubt, stay out.
Yeah.
So I will do that. But yeah, I think if I get a second opportunity or a second signal, I might even take that. But again, I want to see the longer, the stronger. And I think, we're looking up here for me around about the 113, what did I say, 15 area, something like that, before I'll start to look short. So, no, I'm going to pass. Pound Aussie, no trade there at the moment, I don't believe. No, nothing doing there. Euro Aussie, too far gone. Pound yen, a little bit of a fight back there on pound yen, but there's no trade. Aussie yen, too far gone, needs a lot of work to do. Euro yen, I'm interested in euro yen. That looks like a really solid bounce off. Yeah, it does on the 4-hour chart. Break, retest. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low. Yeah, you got to take it on trust. Untested daily pivot. Let me have a look at that. So, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high potentially. Yeah, I've got no right to trade that. I don't believe. Just looks pretty, but it may not be profitable. So no, I'm going to leave that one alone. Untested daily pivot. You would expect, and we haven't tested this trade line, so no, not for me. And EuroCAD, as always, is in the middle of consolidation, and we've got a double top. We've got a lower high at the pivots. That would have been a reasonable place to look for a trade, but I don't see a trade right now, or do I? No, candle's too big. That's a hold right there. Gee. I'd like to find a way in here. It's all looking very similar, of course, the euro and the EuroCAD short. I'm going to stay out, but gee, I'm watching this fairly closely. A second opportunity here to go short, or a second signal, and I think I'd be kind of okay with all of that. So Euro pound, we haven't had a look at Euro pound yet, and the 4-hour chart's suggesting to me that it's taken out the potential lower high here, which is interesting, and maybe even the little trend line / trade line. So failed to get below this line again, which is fairly strong. We haven't closed above here, and to go long here would be folly because we're trading straight into resistance. So when I look at the structure of this, I've still got a double top, and this may be the lower high that we're looking for, but it's broken the trend line. That's the problem. Or has it? Maybe if this closes below here, that becomes tradable. How long have we got to go? 15 minutes. I like it. So, Euro pound. I'm going to take a very good look at that, in particular if it closes below the trend line. That could be a nice trade. But that said, risk 13 pips, reward 1-to-1. That's okay. All right, I'll take a good look at that. But that's about me done, mate. I think that's the only possible trade. Euro pound short on the hourly chart.
Oh, let's have a quick look at that. Euro pound short. Euro pound short.
I haven't taken it yet. I'm just going to wait to see how this candle closes in 15 minutes. But
you quite like the potential for to enter at the low of this particular candle?
Yeah, it's not my favorite way to trade, but that looks pretty strong to me. Big double top. I just want to see this candle close and see what happens.
Yeah, do you know, I was just out the room, not out the room, literally, but just concentrating on Paul. I'm just getting questions about whether anybody should trade the pound at the minute, and I was saying that Mark Carney is out tomorrow, and it looks good, doesn't it, the pound? And he has been very, very very hawkish. So the pound does actually look pretty good for some upside, I think, across the board. So that would be good, mate, if that can happen. And
well,
that brings, it's making.
I'm already at risk on the pound, but I've really that weekly trade that I'm in, I've tended to ignore it completely in terms of risk.
Yeah.
You know, I can't take that in because that could be on the table for 18 months. Even,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's just part of my account that I've wiped out. Right? Really, it doesn't exist. So it's not part of my risk profile at the moment. So yeah, I can trade the pound long, no problem.
Cool. Okay, so pound long for you, which is interesting for me with the FTSE. The FTSE has taken off a bit here. But
I'll be back in 2 secs.
Yeah, sure. FTSE's taken off a bit here, and I'm wondering. I mean, I thought maybe we've had this this tanker explode in. Let me just find that news. Oil surges on report. The oil tanker catches fire in the Sea of Oman. So I was looking at that and thinking maybe this is why the FTSE is so strong this morning. But I've just had a quick look at the shares in the FTSE, and this is what we got. These are the shares in the FTSE, and I thought I'd find BP and Royal Dutch Shell just flying the flag here at the top end of the market, but that hasn't been the case. That isn't the case. So Royal Dutch Shell is doing okay, but it's not right up here, and so it's just suggesting that maybe this move isn't down to that oil tanker quite. It isn't quite as significant as I thought it might be. BP's there, up around about 3/4%. Royal Dutch Shell around about 3/4% ish. But it's, Hargreaves Lansdown, Rio Tinto, that's not going to have a huge impact with the oil. So, finding something else to suggest why the market's going up, and it does still suggest at this stage that it's to do with the Fed, which is much better in many respects, because it at least gives it some solid footing to go on. Now, I will leave it in the market. There is some profit taken here if anybody wants to come out already, but I'm going to leave mine on. I'm going to look for this area up here and see if it can get up there. Stops can go to break even now as well, probably, depending on where you got in, but might be better just to watch the market and see if it does start to turn around here, because that is a fairly solid opening.
Good. Yep.
But yeah, I was just saying, I don't know what that's down to. I don't know. I thought maybe the oil tanker exploding has boosted stocks and prices in BP and Royal Dutch Shell, but that hasn't been the case. And it interested me what you're saying about the pound, because I think some of the reason that the FTSE did actually ease to the downside yesterday was because the pound started to strengthen a bit.
It didn't last though.
It didn't last. No, it didn't last, and maybe that's why the FTSE is getting a boost, a significant boost up. Let's just have a quick look at the other markets that are currently open. So the CAC are on. Yeah, see, that's had a similar move. The DAX, again, similar move. So maybe it's just this Fed speak yet again, mate. It's boosting the market. I mean, I love it when it takes off like that, but it does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But I think putting stops near break even would be a good idea fairly soon. Letting that
Fair
happen.
enough, bud.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Well, I think we're pretty much done, aren't we? I don't know whether you've got anything else you wanted to say.
No, I'm done. I've been around the grounds and probably beyond that. I went into some diatribe that I probably wasn't intending to do, but yeah, I think it's all pretty clear to me what needs to be done.
Great. Okay, mate. All right. Well, let's bid everyone bon bouche, and we will come back again next Monday for the same trade time, same trade channel. See how both our trades got on, and obviously have a good weekend, mate.
You too. I've got a couple more shows to do tonight, but after that, it's wine. Oh, it's not Spirit O'Clock, isn't it? Whiskey O'Clock.
Whiskey O'Clock.
All
right, mate. Well, enjoy the evening shows as well.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye. See you guys.
Bye.